So, hello everyone. In this video, I'm going to explain about AWS code commit, code build, code deploy, and the code pipeline. So, firstly, let's see what are the topics we are going to cover in this video. So, introduction to AWS developer tools, overview of each service like code commit, code build, code deploy, and code plan, use cases of all these services, and the benefits of using AWS CICD tools, and let's see a demo workflow. Now, let's dive into the introduction of the AWS developer tool. So the AWS provide the developer tool called CI/CD service. The CI/CD service are the suite of a tool designed to help developers to implement continuous integration and the continuous delivery workflow. So these services are enable the automation for code building, testing, and deployment. So ensuring faster and more reliable software delivery. What is CI? So, CI stands for continuous integration. It automates the process of integrating a code changes into shared repository and triggering builds and tests automatically to detect the issues early. So, before getting the customer. What is CD? So, CD stands for continuous delivery. It automates the deployment of code to the production or the environments or other environments. It ensures the consistent and repeatable process. In simple words, CI/CD helps developers to push the code quickly and reliably by automating the testing and development deployment process. Now let's see what are the importance of CI/CD in modern software development process. Faster software delivery. So it automates the repetitive tasks like building, testing, and deploying, reducing the time required to release new features or fixes. So the CI/CD pipeline automates the testing and deployment process. So code changes can quickly move from the deployment to the production. So this means updates, new features, or fixes are delivered to the users much faster, and it improve the code quality. So regular builds and automates the testing catch bugs early, resulting in cleaner and more stable code. So by automatically testing the code with the every changes and CI/CD ensured that bugs and errors are caught early. So this will helps the developer to fix the issues before they grow, and the resulting in cleaner, more reliable in the code. And the CI/CD enhanced the collaboration. So continuous integration, faster, better teamwork by ensuring developers works on the latest version on the code. So when developer works together, merging code changes can be tricky. So the CI/CD process, the CI/CD pipeline to test these changes automatically, so making it easier for the teams to collaborate and integrated their work smoothly. Reliability in deployment. So continuous delivery ensure consistent and error-free deployment across various environment and reducing downtime. With the CI/CD process, every deployment goes through the same automated process during the chance of human error. So this makes deployment more predictable and the more reliable. Scalability and adaptability. The CI/CD process can be scaled with the team size and the application complexity. supporting microservices and large monolithic applications alike. So, as the project grows or changes, the CI/CD pipeline can handle more code teams or testing needs. So, it adapts to your requirements without slowing down. And it also reduced your risk. So, it automates the pipelines with the pre-deployment test, minimize the chances of deploying faulty code and ensuring reliability. So, by testing and deploying in small, frequent step, the pipeline minimize the chance of big and costly failures. So if something goes wrong, it's easier to identify and fix it. Now let's see what are the key AWS services involved in the automation. So the AWS provide the AWS code commit, code build, code deploy, code pipeline services to automates the CI/CD process or in the CI/CD process. Uh, Now let's dive. Now let's see all these are in detail. So firstly, AWS code commit. So the AWS code commit is a secure Git-based repository for the version control system. So it stores your source code, track changes, and supports collaboration among the developers. So code commit works similar to the GitHub, GitLab, or the Bitbucket. So, but it's only integrated with the AWS ecosystem. So. Now let's see what is AWS Code Builder. So the AWS Code Build is a fully managed build service that compiles your source code, running tests, and produce the deployable packages. So it's a service that takes your code and turns into something ready to use. So like a application or the software package. So it scales automatically to handle the multiple builds and in the simultaneously. Now let's see what is AWS Code Deploy. So the AWS Code Deploy is a service that automates the deployment of your application uh, to the server or container or the cloud services. So the code deploy updates, for example, you have a 10 servers. So the code deploys update two server first and then move on to the next two and so on. So it supports the deployment strategies like rolling updates and blue-green deployment and in-place updates. So the rolling updates means suppose you have a 10 servers. The code deploy updates the two server first and then move on to the next two servers and so on like that. And the blue green deployment means your user are accessing the blue environment. So the code deploy creates a, new green environment, deploy the new version and test it. So once confirmed, traffic is redirected from the blue to the green. So in place update means it updates the existing servers directly, so without creating a new ones. So it saves the resources because it doesn't need extra servers. So however there may be downtime during the updates. So for example the code deploy stop your application on the one server. So installs the update and restart it before moving to the next server. Now, what is AWS Code Pipeline? So, the AWS Code Pipeline is an automation tool for a CI/CD workflow in the AWS. So, It's a tool that automates the process steps needed to release your software. So works with AWS services like commit, code build, and code deploy. So in overall, the AWS code pipeline is like a software assembly line. So we take your code and process it through the build, test, and deploy stages, and it ensure your application is delivered reliably and quickly. Now let's see all these. So this image will be explain you to the process of AWS CICD using the AWS services like code commit, code build, and code deploy, and the code pipeline. So the code pipeline is the top layer. So it acts as the orchestrator. So it connect the different stages of the software releases process like source, build, test, and deploy. So it automates the flow and ensuring every step happens sequentially and efficiently. So the source means the code start here, and the AWS code commit or the other source repository like a GitHub. So is used to store your code and securely. Uh, the AWS code build compiles the code and run automates the test and ensuring the code is free from the error and ready for the deployment and the testing process. So it's an optional stage for the additional testing. Example like integration or load testing. So it helps to validate the applications works as expected, and the deploy. So the AWS code deploy takes the build and test application and deploy it to the server or container or the cloud platforms. So this is the bottom layer that is code commit, code build, and code deploy. So as I said earlier, the code commit it store the source code. The code build will help to handle the building and testing of your code, and the code deploy will deploy the final application to its targets environment. So and simplify. Now let's see what are the benefits of using AWS CICD tools. So it's a fully managed and scalable. So the AWS take care of the all the infrastructure and management behind the services. So you don't need to worry about setting up or maintaining the servers or storage. It will automatically scale based on your needs and handling everything from the small project to the large scale project. Secure integration with IAM. So IAM allows you to control who can access your AWS resources and what action they can perform. So with the IAM integration, you can set up specific permission and ensure only authorized users and services can interact with the your code commit repositories, code build projects, code deployment, and the code pipeline workflows. So the AMI make it easy to secure all your deployment process. It increased the developer productivity. So these AWS services automates many repetitive tasks like software development lifecycle and freeing developers from manual work so they can focus on writing code and building features. So uh, the code commit make it easy to store and manage your code securely. The code build automatically builds and tests the code, reducing the need of manual inventions. And the code deploy automates the deployment process, making releases quicker and more reliable. and the code pipeline integrates with everything into a smooth, and it automates the flow, saving time and efforts. So it reduced the time to market. By automating and streamlining the process of development, testing, and deployment, so these services help you releases a new feature or fixes much faster than traditional manual process. So, how it works? The code pipeline ensure that changes are quickly pushed through the stages of building, testing, and deploying without waiting for manual approval at each stages. So the code build automates the testing, catching errors early, so you don't need to spend much time to fix the problem. So the code deploy will help you to deploy new version of your application, with the minimal downtime. So it ensure updates happen quickly. So you can push features and bugs to your user faster, and then improving customer satisfaction and staying ahead of the competition. So in overall, the AWS will handle everything, and it can grow as your project grows. So it's secure integration with the IAM, so you can control who can access to your code and the deployment with the IAM, ensuring security. So it increases the developer productivity by automates the repetitive tasks, like allowing developers to focus on writing the code and reduce the time to market. So it speed up the development and deployment process, allowing faster releases and updates. So far, you have seen. So, what is AWS developer tool? What is AWS code commit? What is AWS code deploy? What is AWS code build? And what is AWS code pipeline and all? And what are the benefits and how it works? And now let's dive into the hands-on AWS CICD developer tool. So, by deploying a sample application. So for that, you need to go to your AWS console. So before moving into the CICD developer tool, so we need to create an IAM user, and we need to give some permission for that user. So for that, go to IAM. So we need to create IAM user along with the necessary permission for the CICD developer tools. So roles. So click create role. So here we need to choose a EC2 instance for the deployment. So after click next, and here we need to add some permission policies to that specific role. So type Amazon. So here you can see Amazon EC2 role for the AWS code deploy. So select this permission and click next. So name for the role, so EC2 deploy, create role. So here you can see the EC2 deploy role has been created successfully. Now we need to create another role for the code deploy. So create role. So here, instead of EC2, I'm going to choose code deploy. So here you can see the code deploy. So select this one and click next. So here you can see the AWS code deploy role. So click next and name for the role code deploy. Scroll down, click create role. So the code deploy role has been created. Now we need to create a EC2 instance for the deployment purpose. So for that, we need to create a EC2 instance. So for that, go to launch instances. So here, give a name for your EC2 instance. I'm going to give sample instance. Scroll down. So I'm going to choose Amazon machine image as a Amazon Linux. It's a free tier. So scroll down. So you can choose what type of instance you want. So I am going to select T3 micro, so which contain two CPUs and 1 GB memory. And you can create a new key pair, or you can choose existing key pair. So I'm going to create a new key pair. Simple instance and click create key pair. So no need to change any network settings. Scroll down. So enhance the advanced details. Scroll down. So here you need to type some commands. So you need to run all these command in the user data while configuring the EC2 instance. So why do we include these commands in the user data field? So these commands are automates the setup of the EC2 instance during the launch. So you don't need to manually log in and configuring the instance later. So these commands are ensure consistency by installing required packages and configuring the instances in a repeatable way. So copy this command. So paste it in the user data field. So this line indicates that the script will run in the bash shell. So my updates. So it updates all the packages on the EC2 instance. So using the yum package. So yum install -y Ruby. So this flag is automatically answer yes to the prompt. So ensuring update without manual invention. So it will install the Ruby for the AWS code deploy agent and yum install -y AWS CLI. So it will help to install the AWS command line interface, which is used to interact with the AWS services from the terminal, and the cd /home /EC2 user. So it will help to navigate to the default home directory of the EC2 user on the instance, and this line will indicates it use the AWS command line interface to copy the code deploy installation script from the AWS S3 bucket to the EC2 instance. So here you can see copy S3. So it will copy the code deploy installation script from the AWS S3 bucket to the EC2 instance. So here you can see the region and chmod plus x dot /install. So it will have to changes the file permission from the install script to make it executable, and dot slash for install auto. So it will help to run the code deploy installation script in the automatic mode. So this install and configuring the AWS code deploy agent. So what happens after execution of this code? So the AWS code deploy agent is installed and ready to connect with the EC2 instance to the code deploy. So this allow EC2 instance to receive the deployment instruction from the code deploy. So this instance will now participate in your deployment and execute deployment tasks like updating application and or the running scripts. So after entering this command, click or launch instance. So here you can see the instance is successfully initiated. So after now you are ready to set up the code pipeline. So before that, go to code deploy. So code deploy, go to code deploy. So here go to create application. Here I need to create a application. So why do we need to create application? So in the code deploy, it's a logical container that represents the services, projects, or the workload you want to deploy. So it organize and group all the related resources and deployment configurations. So it will help for the better management and the monitoring. So here give the application name sample application. So choose the compute platform. So we are going to deploy the application on the EC2 instance. So for that, select the EC2 on premises. So click create application. So after creation of the application, here you can see the application created. So this is the name of the application, sample application. Computer platform is EC2 on premises. So after that, you need to create a deployment group. So why do we need to create a deployment group? So it specify the set of instances on premises server and Lambda functions where the application will deployed. So it will also contain the deployment configurations like how updates are rolled out. So we need to create a deployment group. So click on the create deploy group. So we need to give the name for the deployment group. So enter the name CICD deploy group. Scroll down. So here enter the service role which you have created. That is a code deploy. Scroll down. So in the deployment type, you can choose. There are two options. So first one is in place. So this means updates the existing server directly. So without creating a new one. So the blue green means so the user accessing the blue environment. So the code deploy creates a new green environment, deploys the new version and tested it. So once confirmed, the traffic is redirected from blue to the green. So here I'm choosing a in place. So after that, in the environment configuration, select the Amazon EC2 for the deployment. So here in the key, select the name, and then in the value field, so you have to select the EC2 instance which you have created. So sample instance, click the scroll down. So here in the load balancer, so uncheck this box, and we don't want to load balancer. So click the create deployment group. Here you can see the deployment group has been created successfully. Now we are ready to create a code pipeline. So in the same console, scroll down here, you can see the pipeline. So getting started. So here create a pipeline. So here the AWS will provide a two option. So we can you can create a pipeline from the template, sample template, or you can build the pipeline from the scratch. So here I'm going to choose build custom pipeline. Click next. So give a name for the pipeline, sample pipeline. Scroll down. So here the service role is automatically generated. Scroll down, click next. Here you need to choose a source provider to access the source code. So here I am going to select the GitHub. So I'm accessing the source code from the GitHub repository. So that's why I'm selecting GitHub. So here you need to connect your GitHub with the AWS. So for that you need to click connect GitHub. So here choose confirm to complete the connection. Here you can see the connection is successful with your GitHub account. Now you have to choose your repository. So where your source code located. So this is my repository sample web, and you need to choose a branch that is main and click next. So the next step is the build. The AWS code build compiles the code and runs automated testers. So it ensures the code is free from the errors and ready for the deployment. So you can configure all these steps, or you can simply skip. So here I'm going to skip the build stage. So here I need to select the deploy provider. So that is AWS code deploy. So here you need to choose the application which you have created early, and also you need to create. You need to select the deployment group also. So click next. So review the all the configuration before going to create pipeline. So click create pipeline. So here you can see the process has been started. So the here you can see the source process has been successful. So now the deploying process is in progress. So wait until the deployment is completed. So after the deployment successful, you can copy the public IP of the instance and paste it on the new tab. There you can see your website. So this is how AWS CICD tools work. So in simple word, the AWS provides CICD tools, so which will help you to automate the software development and deployment. So these tools work together to help the developers release software faster and with a few errors.